Welcome, all our wonderful friends to yet another episode of Justice League Revisited, the perfect companion piece for those of you enjoying Justice League and Justice League Unlimited on HBO Max or on Netflix, or like me, I got the DVD still, so I'm old school. Another episode here, we are covering the episode Hereafter, which was, as I watch it, mind-blowingly cinematic. This two-parter, it took place in season 2, episodes 19 and 20 of the second season, the 10th story overall, and episodes 45 and 46 in the entirety of the run. It's so exciting. I'm going to introduce right now my wonderful co-host, the voice of Wonder Woman, Susan Eisenberg. How are you?
I'm blushing, I think. I don't know why. Okay, hi.
You look good in red. Blush away. You look good in red.
I don't know why. And it's not a hot flash. It's actually blushing. For those of our listeners who can't see me. Hi, I loved this episode. And I am very excited that we're going to be talking to our guest today, because what a difference an episode makes. Watching our guest transform himself from one side of the spectrum to another side of the spectrum. I mean, from evil to, should I say good or decent? It was such a joy watching this performance, and I'll let you do the formality, but I'm thrilled that he's here today.
As am I. He's back again. I feel like we almost couldn't do this episode without him. Just one of my favorite guests ever. Don't tell Phil Lamar. But we've got Phil Morris joining us again, the voice of Vandal Savage in Hereafter. Phil, this is such a treat to have you back. Thank you so much.
It's an honor, and to be mentioned with Phil Lamar and any of those amazing people, as well as Susan. Listen. I'm a voiceover guy who kind of backed into it, and so when I'm surrounded by these incredible talents, I have to bring the A game. You know what I mean? You have to bring your A game.
Most importantly, you're an actor, and so there you go. And I got to tell you, the chops were out for these episodes. It's a two-parter. You're featured in the second part, but I have to say, I was blown away by the performance, because, we were introduced to Vandal earlier on, and so we have a sense of him. And if you have a sense of this character, everything you know about this guy is, it is lost in this episode, because he's a totally different person in this. And I have to tell you, your performance was beautiful.
Thank you.
Loved it.
I watched it again yesterday in preparation for this. And it reminded me how much I love animation, how much I love comics, how wonderful that cast was, how special that was. I mean, they're doing the death of Superman way before they did the death of Superman recently with the movies.
Yeah.
And it was handled, I would say, I don't want to say better, but with a great nuanced hand. And the response that you had as Wonder Woman to Lobo and to some of the things that happen, so honest, so true. And as a huge comic book fan, as everybody should know, it moves me as well. At that last line, when I first saw it, Vandal's last line was "Thank you, my friend." Right?
Yep.
I got weepy.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Phil Morris got weepy when I first saw it, when Andrea sent me the DVDs. So very special episodes, very special character Vandal, very nuanced, so thank you so much for that compliment.
Yeah. And so like, James, when's the last time you saw the episode, James?
It had been a while. This is one of the ones that it's toward the end of the series, so I'll throw in that last DVD in the set, and I'll watch the whole DVD set. But this is one that, going back to revisit, I forgot, A, how cinematic it is, B, how very different episodes 1 and episodes 2 of this two-parter are. Because the one focuses on the world without Superman, the other focuses on Superman in this new world. And the whole time, I remember the first time I was watching, I remember thinking, he's going to turn on him. He's going to turn on him at some point. But it was just the motivations of Vandal Savage. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, Phil, is how did you approach the character, since it is such a vast, almost a completely different character in ways from the past 2 times we've seen Vandal Savage?
Well, I always felt that Vandal Savage was on the precipice of what we see him as in Hereafter Part 2. He's he's melancholy. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's seen it all. I just don't think he knows what else to do with himself, which is why he keeps trying to conquer the world. It's almost as though the only mistress he has is power.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so when that no longer satisfies you, you're very lonely. And I thought he was always on the precipice of that. That's how I always played him. A smooth criminal, sure, but a man who's so sensitive in a way that he doesn't reveal until you see this second part. But I always felt that that was in him, as it is in all of us, right? No matter how strong we are, what we present to the world, there's this fleshy underbelly that we don't show the world that at any moment can be triggered. And so that's what happened with him. He happened to trigger it himself, and actually realizes his fondest wish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what happens when you realize everything and you realize it's not anything? So it was a very interesting Vandal Savage to play. As you watch your performance, you're always like, oh, I could have done that. I should have laid into that. I should have leaned into that. I should have laid off of that. I tried to stay away from all of that in the
Mhm.
judgment
Yeah.
area to just watch it. And I really, really, really enjoyed it.
Well, and also we should mention Dwayne McDuffie
Absolutely.
wrote the script where, I mean, so hello, like it doesn't get any better. It just doesn't.
Mm-mm.
And then, we have the extraordinary Butch Lukic,
Directing. Yeah.
who directed it. So, I mean, it's such a brilliant episode and so layered. And I'm like you, I got so emotional watching the response to the League upon Superman's death, or perceived death, and that great still that we see so much, as where they're all lined up and you can see all of their profiles, which ends the first episode. It's just that's just beautiful. I mean that's beautiful,
For an animated series
right?
based around superheroes.
Right. But you have a Dwayne McDuffie for whom this was part of his soul,
Mm.
so
Mm.
of course it's going to be at this level. That's what's so special about the show and why we're talking about it. If it just been like just some dude writing a script that he didn't have an attachment to, but everyone refers to Dwayne as brilliant, and you know it. All you have to do is watch some of these episodes and you see it.
On full display. On full display. And so humble and a part of the process. That's what I find genius artists are. They are a part of the whole thing. They don't stand apart. They're not a star. They are a part of the universe that they're creating. They're part of the universe that we're contributing to. Kevin Conroy, the same. Two
Yes.
geniuses that we've lost too soon. George Newbern, the same.
Yeah.
Just genius. And I did a project with George, and I don't think he remembered that we did this episode, and I had to remind him that we had. And then he went back to watch. He was like, "Oh my God, we were so good!" It's like, yeah, George, we were pretty good.
It's so
But
George. Oh my God, we were so good.
he's so clued out for such a sharp, smart dude. And I think he keeps himself in that place intentionally so that he stays wondrous, and he stays
100%.
alive and he stays
100%.
connected and he's not jaundiced and he's not inured to the passions and the excitement that this
Yep.
business has. And listen, that's why I keep working. I have the same passion and desire and I think sense of life that I started this business with. I mean, it hasn't changed. It hasn't diminished. It hasn't assuaged at all. So I
No.
keep banging it out.
In fact, before we went on air, I said to you, I saw you recently because you just did a gig, and the joy in your post, it was like palpable because you were just thrilled. Like, oh, I get to do this today. Oh, and they pay me.
Crazy. It's just
Which
crazy.
is lovely.
Oh, it's
But
beautiful.
it's wonderful. But I think that's your approach to life. You bring so much joy to your life.
Thank you.
And well done, because I don't know that a lot of people have that connection to the joy as much as you do. So.
Well, they let the life thing daunt them, right? Life be lifing, as they say these days. And life's for me too, hard.
Mm-hmm.
I just, listen, we all have a story that we're writing as we live every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We take every breath. How do you want your story to be written? Do you want it to be written that you got knocked down, you stayed down?
Mhm.
Because we're all going to get knocked down at some point.
100%.
Doesn't matter
Yeah.
who you are, what you got, where you come from. And so early on, I realized that that's not the way I wanted my story to be written. I was the author, and I can choose how I respond and react to the things in my life that happen to me.
Mhm.
The joy. I mean, I drive, guys, I drive so often in my car, and I am hit with this unbelievable sense of unmitigated joy.
Mm.
Just joy. I'm driving my car on the coast, and I've just come from an amazing gig, because all of my gigs are amazing, whether they're difficult or challenging or not. And
Mhm.
so I always find myself in my car at some point, and I'm not young, and I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
So it happens a lot where I just go, how grateful
Mhm.
I am to have this journey
Mhm.
that allows me these feelings. So yeah, I carry it with me every single day.
And talking about your sensibilities, I was curious to know, because we've seen these kind of stories like with Hereafter, where, you know, I famously think of Burgess Meredith in the Twilight Zone episode Time Enough at Last. He finally gets his wish, his glasses break.
Yep.
I'm curious, Phil, what would you do if you suddenly found out you were the last person on the planet? Would you, is there something that's like, I'd go and set up an apartment in a shopping mall. I would eat this, that, or the other. I'd go to a car lot and I'd get the most expensive Aston Martin and I would drive. What would you do if you found out suddenly you were the very last human on Earth?
Pretty much all that.
Okay.
After probably a sensible amount of grieving for being alone, and trying to process that. I would try to advantage myself with all of the bounty that was left, right? I would try and experience life for the length of time that I had it to the best of my ability. I did an episode of Star Trek once called One Small Step, and I play an astronaut in it who interfaces for the very first time in human experience with alien technology. I go through this wormhole, long story short. I'm seeing all these alien ships that nobody's ever seen ever, and I know I'm going to die. This is it. I can't get back. So what he does is he turns all of his recording equipment, all the energy that the ship has to record all of these things that he's seeing. That will, he's taking his life sustaining energy away to record this, so that when somebody finds it, they see what he experienced. So he's giving himself up to record what he knows is going to be ridiculously amazing for whoever finds it.
Right.
That's me. I would give up my life to better someone else's. I would try to create wellness at my own expense if that's what it took.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so yeah, because life is joy. And the more we can create joy and we can prolong our lives to find that joy, the better we're all served.
It's quite extraordinary that he was such a sympathetic character, given, how horrendous he was in earlier episodes, that I just felt for him. I just really did. And it was funny because Diana in this episode, she's so violent. Like, she has such violent tendencies. And, you always hear that she's like all about peace first. And how do we resolve this peacefully? And in this show, I feel like I'm really quick to anger and to punch. It's like, it's funny to me. It also, it jumped out at me that there's already chemistry. They weren't consciously planting a seed about Batman and Wonder Woman, but it's there. Like, they're very much in each other's orbit. The Wonder Bat feeling.
Yeah.
Were you aware of that? Because they're aware of each other. They know what's going on. Like, when he doesn't show up and she's like, he's grieving. She knows that about him. I mean, it wasn't true, but still.
Well, she's quite empathetic, isn't she?
And so toward him, I mean, just, so connected, like Hawkgirl is with Green Lantern. I mean, but I was just really struck how, eventually they really open up that relationship, that that dynamic, but you see little pieces of it throughout the show,
right.
even
Those
now.
seeds are dropped. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
for
not
sure.
surprised that Diana was quick to punch a dude in the throat. Um, she's the warrior queen. I mean,
Right,
she comes from a race of warrior women. Um,
right.
you hold that down as you're within your construct, but as soon as you need that
It's
tool
there.
comes out of the toolbox fairly
Yep.
quickly. And it's interesting that what you say about Vandal revealing this side of his humanity. I think he never connected with it until there were no more humans left to interface with.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yep.
You don't know how valuable things are until you don't have them.
Hmm.
And so he took his humanity for granted, as far as I can see.
And that dynamic with Superman is just right there. It's like with Lex, when Lex says, "I'll miss him too." I loved that. I mean, I just love that.
So good. And how this two-parter started by the evil faction trying to destroy Superman, right? That's what they try to do. But
Right.
then you have Vandal, who's one of his greatest enemies, needing him as an ally
Hmm.
to save the world.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's just Dwayne McDuffie. Hello.
Yeah, you can
Right.
tell Dwayne is obviously, as much as you, Phil, or Phil Lamar, such a comic book fan, because as I'm watching that, I'm like, oh, that's the cover of Superman issue 156, the Superman Revenge Squad. And oh, this looks like the cover that Dan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway did with Superman with the beard when he was on his trek after he lost his powers. And oh, look, it's the funeral for Superman. Everyone's showing up. So there's those beats that I kept looking like, oh, I was like that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm leaning forward at my TV going, oh, here, like 4 or 5 times. And only someone like Dwayne McDuffie would do that.
Yes. I love that, James, when you did at the funeral where you didn't need the dialogue. You didn't need Aquaman to speak, but just seeing him there and having that continuity. I love that. It is so well done. And for the fans, I always feel like it's so important to give those those moments to the fans, because you don't need to put Aquaman in that scene. But of course, it means everything that he's there with Miro. It just means
Absolutely.
everything.
And how beautiful to have John Jones, Carl Lumbly, with that voice, giving that eulogy.
Yeah.
That's I hadn't seen it in a long time,
Right.
and seeing it and hearing him,
Mm-hmm.
because he's a genius.
He is.
Made all the sense in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
A fellow alien. Remember, I played John Jones in Smallville.
Yeah.
So I have a sense of who John Jones is and how John Jones's relationship with Superman has developed. And John is all about, bruh, we aliens here. We don't come from here. We don't belong here. We need to back up a bit and see what our place is in this construct. And so to see him do the eulogy for me as a John Jones guy.
Right. And a Carl Lumbly fan.
Which
right.
who isn't? I mean, come on. It's Carl.
No, it's true. It's funny, though, that the thread of the beginning where you do have the Revenge Squad, it really does pivot to a whole other story in the second episode. I mean, like, the second episode could be, its own episode. As somebody who's not, did not grow up with these stories, it was a little confusing to me, because I was like, okay, so they start the story and then we kind of lose them a little bit. And then we go to this other, universe with Superman and Vandal, which I loved. And wasn't Corey Burton like 3 different characters?
He was. He played Metallo, Toyman, and Weather Wizard.
And Weather Wizard,
yeah.
Right, all 3. That's crazy.
Yeah, they got 3 bang for their buck there. I mean, they get 3 voices, and boy, I mean, who better to hire than Corey?
And then I love Michael Dorn for Calabac. It's just
so good.
Perfect voice casting, again, by Andrea, obviously.
And who played Lobo was...
Brad Garrett, yeah.
Brad Garrett.
I mean, from the moment he opens his mouth, it's Brad Garrett.
Brad Garrett.
I mean, I didn't even have to look. Sometimes I really have to look. Like Phil, I wouldn't know Vandal's you. I just would never know that's your voice. I would never in a million years. I mean, of course, I know you play Vandal in the series, so I knew it was you. But holy cow, I would never have guessed. I knew Brad, and it's great, and it was perfect, and it was spot on. But I would never have guessed that
Thank you.
you voiced. I mean, it's, I'm always a variation of me, of Susan. People are rarely going to say, I had no idea it was you. They'll be like, I think I heard a little Wonder Woman in that. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what I do. So yeah, well done you, because I never would have guessed. Nope.
Thanks.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to work from the truth of the character.
Uh-huh.
If it is in me and it's me and my voice, then it's my voice. I have an audition tomorrow it's not my voice. It's a Southern voice, and it's a different voice. And I'm in an episode of Fire Country on CBS Friday, and the character I play in that is his voice is different than mine. And I didn't plan it. It just is the way the character came out of me. His walk is different. His attitude, his whole look is different than who I am. I really appreciate that. It's the journey that I want to take as an actor. It's why I became an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of embody the skin of someone else, knowing it's me and from my own root, but trying to journey in their lane, as it were.
Would you do that consciously when you go in for an audition? It's like you see what the character, you get the sides, and you're like, I think he's going to walk like this. Or is that something after you get the role, then they work with you a little bit and say, what if we had him walk? Like, how does the character change from, we love what you did, yes, you got the part, to now let's put it on camera?
In television, it happens that they hire you for what you gave them because they don't have a lot of time to adjust anything, right? So it's like this Fire Country that is on Friday. The director came to me and he goes, your audition was amazing. That's exactly what we want. You are the guy. Just work on that. And so that gives you a great deal of confidence to drill down on the decisions and the choices that you've already made. A lot of times you can work with people who have a greater sense of the character than you do because they've been living with it for longer than you have. I came at it from an audition standpoint. So I only have weeks. They have months, years invested in this character and the proceedings. So it behooves me to listen to what they say because they know this universe a little bit better than I do. And then I try to weave it in. And then we come to an agreement.
Mm. Have you ever had a situation where you're like, I don't know if I can get there?
If that happens in an audition, I usually don't do the audition.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't, I don't want to give somebody a sense of me that isn't the best me I can give them, because then that's what they come away with,
Sure.
But no, I don't know if I've had moments where I've disagreed with directors and I've given them my reasoning and it stuck, or they came to me with a better idea. And I'm good with that. Because I can't be objective. I shouldn't be objective. I have to commit and then be in it. And then they're at Video Village, or if I'm doing stage, they're sitting in the audience and then they're objectifying, hopefully, what's happening. And then they can bring the note back to me. When I get the note, when I make my decision, I flip and go. And unless you have an incredible reason for me not to go where I'm going, that's where I'm going. Because that's where the character is taking me. And so, like I said, unless you have a stronger impetus for what this character is all about. I remember I was doing a show one time and the director came to me and he was, okay, so what are you playing? And I told him. He goes, okay, got it. Let's re-architect that. Re-architect?
Right.
Now you got me. What do you got? And he said something to me that was not an acting note. It was a character note about my power. And it changed the dynamic for the better. But two things happened. One was he asked me what I was playing, right? As opposed to, look, I see what you're doing. No, he asked me. I told him. He listened, right? He collated that, got it. Now my mind is cool. He gets me. Let's re-architect that. Wow. Okay. Now I'm an open vessel as opposed to being a closed shop because he's judging me, right? And as an artist, as soon as somebody points at you or judges you or makes you feel as though you're looking over your shoulder, you're out of it. You're just out of it. You can't sing the best. The painting's not going to be any good.
Right.
Your performance is going to suck. So as soon as they give you that underlying confidence to go where you're already going, let's go.
Do you get nervous?
I do. I do get nervous. I do get nervous. Just like we do in life, we get nervous. You know.
How do you work with those nerves? How do you,
I
for all
use
those
it.
actors listening to you, what would you tell somebody who shows up and they're just terrified that first day? They're nervous,
Nervous is good. Terrified is tough.
yeah.
Fear is a mind killer. So if you're anxious, that's a good thing. That means you
Yeah.
care. That means you're invested. That's your gas, right? That's what my manager says. I go with him with like, I've been doing this forever. I go to him with like, man, rah, 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 rah. And he goes, Phil, I kind of need this from you because it shows me that you care and you're checking yourself and you're balancing your responses. And I can't use you if you're like
Right.
that. Same with an actor. You can't use yourself if you're like this. Nobody's like this. Even the people who look like they're like this, inside they're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I used to try to will it away. And I used to get real bad anxiety. I would wake up early, early call times, and you know how much money's on the line. And right when you get to set, there's like, okay, Phil, can you sign in? And wardrobe wants to see you, and you want a breakfast sandwich, and everything is focused on you, right? So I get very nervous, knowing my conscious mind would interface with what was on the line, as opposed to forget all that stuff. You're not there for a breakfast sandwich, bro. You're there to play this guy. So wrap your mind around the guy. When I would do that, my nerves would go away because all the noise would stop and I would be able to focus on really who I am and what I'm there to do. But I wouldn't let the anxiety, I wouldn't try to will that away. I would just use it. I would bring it into my character and let it shine light on his inner life, right? And as I started to do that, I don't have anxiety anymore. I have excitement.
Is there a added pressure or less pressure if you're auditioning for a voice role, or does it just depend on the project?
To me, it depends on the project. I'm sure Susan can speak to how it goes for her, but it's always a matter of the character for me. Can I fall in love with this human? Can I fall in love with their journey? If I can fall in love with it, it really doesn't matter what it is. Independent film to Disney it doesn't matter. I need to fall in love with this person for me to be the best me I can be. Then I'll give them all the justifications to live and breathe.
So you're saying you're in love with Vandal Savage. That's what I'm
Love
hearing
him.
right now.
Love him. I feel for him.
Right? I think we all did.
I just kept thinking about all the different, I keep thinking of, I Am Legend when I was seeing the second part of this, The Last Man on Earth. They kind of have that feeling, but then the very different tones, my mind goes to weird places. I was thinking of the movie, I'm not sure if you've seen it, From Dusk Till Dawn, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, where it starts out as a bank robbery movie, and then the second half transitions to a knockdown, drag-out horror film with vampires. And I kept thinking, this is such it's the amazing. And plus, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Dynamic Music Partners who did the music for this episode too. Because wow, cinematic score on this one. It just moved the whole time when Superman's alone, fighting wolves, finding his way to go. I mean, just absolutely top notch all around. I really think I have personally underestimated this episode. And now that I'm viewing it again, it's got to move up a couple notches.
Well, and like you said, we say this all the time. I think one of the words that just keeps reappearing in this is cinematic. We are, this is such a cinematic show, and from the score, to what we're seeing on the screen, to what we're hearing, the lines, the script. So I just think all those elements have contributed to make it as iconic as it's become, and the score was brilliant, but the score is always brilliant. I'm so glad we spoke to Dynamic Music Partners. That we spoke to them. We haven't spoken to Lolita, but that will come down the road. And now they're reissuing, or I don't know that it was ever issued, but the score for Justice League Unlimited has been released.
Really?
Yeah, Justice
Yes.
League Unlimited Part 1. If you're
Standalone.
listening to this, it's now available. Chris Carter and Michael McHuston and Lolita Ritmanis. I can't get all my vowels correct. They've just released, it's Part 1, so I'm assuming a Part 2 will be coming. But Chris has been really pushing on social media. So if you're a fan and you're listening to this right now, go download, or what I like to do, buy the physical copy. Check with your local music store and see if they can get you a physical copy of it, because that's it's so good.
So good. And I was so giddy for them because I'm overjoyed that it's continuing to have life. And
it's a bit timeless. The show. I mean, it's. I watched it yesterday. It's like we just dropped it.
Yeah.
You know, really.
Yep. And of course, there's such poignancy because we don't have Kevin. And we have lost so many people, and so it just adds another layer to it. I was struck when I call Batman at one point. I go, Batman, it's Diana. And I thought, why aren't I calling him Bruce? Like, why am I calling him Batman, but I'm Diana?
You never know who's listening.
Is that rhetorical, or are you looking
I'm
for
really
an answer?
wondering. I was curious. Like, it's not like I said, Bruce, it's Diana. It's Batman. It's Diana, not Wonder Woman, but Diana. Thoughts?
I don't see Diana seeing herself as Wonder Woman. I see her seeing herself as Diana, and we see her as Wonder Woman. I see that Batman, when you're being Wonder Woman, is what you would call him. Even though you're calling yourself Diana, because I don't think you see yourself as Wonder Woman, but you're still operating in an official capacity as a Justice League member. So he's Batman. He wouldn't be Bruce, because Bruce isn't a Justice League member. Batman is.
Well, and Batman's barely a Justice League.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's so Batman in the episode. I don't see that.
He's Batman. He's always
you couldn't
Batman.
call him Bruce. He gives you no indication that Bruce Wayne is existing anywhere, because Bruce Wayne would feel for his friend.
Yeah.
And when he goes off to investigate the death because he doesn't believe he's dead, he's always like working on a separate, like space. He's always just out there. It's not like he called anyone and said, "Hey, I'm working on a theory. I think he's alive." It was just like, there he goes to do it. He's always the loner.
Very
always.
Batman.
Always.
Very, very Batman. On brand
And
for
then
him.
at the end, don't you say to him, to Superman, you say, well, he missed you as much as we did, or he missed you too. And he says, no, I didn't. I didn't even think you were dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, yeah, that's Batman.
Yeah.
That's not Bruce Wayne.
That's one of my favorite parts of the Batman Beyond series, is when the Bruce is hearing a voice and it's talking to him. And Terry says, when this all happened, how did you know that you weren't going crazy? And Kevin Conroy, in that great voice, says, because the voice called me Bruce. In my head, that's not what I call myself. And Terry said, what do you call yourself? And Bruce just looks at him and he goes, oh, yeah, of course. Because Bruce is the mask, Batman is the reality. And they did that so well in Batman Beyond, and we get several glimpses of that in Justice League as well.
So good.
It's the genius of why Batman has been around for as long as he has.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us relate to him. All of us relate to him in some way. I remember I did an interview with Adam West, of all people. Adam West and Jim Lee and Kevin, the great director, Kevin Smith. We were all doing this roundtable, and I said to him, every young man's first car is a Batmobile. That's the way it is. So we relate to him, Batman, on so many different levels. And it's why he's stayed so relevant for so long.
I will confess that I purposely bought I didn't get the newer car that I could have when I've had my first choice of cars. I went with a dark blue Datsun 280ZX because I could almost see it look like a Batmobile. So to Phil's point, you are entirely correct, sir.
Yes, you are correct, sir. I know. Sorry, Susan. There's a little too much testosterone in the room for you right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. I listen, I love Batman too. And I get it. I mean, he's a wonderful character. He is. And, like Hamlet, I mean, you have all these different interpretations, but you also have some that are just brilliant. And Kevin was brilliant. He just was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I know they made a Vandal Savage figure as part of a 3-pack. And Phil, I know you are a collector. Do you have the Vandal Savage figure in your collection somewhere?
I have a figure that someone must have given me at a convention, as I'm sure Susan has like a billion Wonder Woman figures that people.
I have a few. We were just talking about it. James and I were talking about it the other day. Yeah, I do have a few. And obviously I'm, you love the one that Justice League is my favorite version of her, but you appreciate all of them that, are given to you. And whether it's fan art or somebody gives you a statue or whatever it is. And it's so you have one in your collection, so we don't need to go get you one. Is that what you're telling us?
I have a Vandal Savage. I don't know how many different variations they have made, Funko Pops or whatever, but I would always accept one, Susan.
Yeah.
From whoever, you guys especially.
Yeah.
Isn't it special though how it resonates with the fans, and we get a chance to really hear what they feel and think when we're at conventions. That's the only place that we're gonna hear it.
Right.
But it's so special how they feel about what you've done, about what you've brought to them and their childhood or their imagination or their lives. And it never fails to move me to distraction when I'm at a convention and people come to my table and have that kind of story to tell me, or, drop a comic book on me, or, whatever it is that they feel they want to share with me, And
I'm sure your dad had a similar experience because people grew up with his show.
Yeah.
People grew up with Mission Impossible. So I'm sure when they met your dad, they would just be so giddy,
It was
because he was part of their childhood or their young adulthood or whatever. I mean, Mission Impossible was also an adult show. I mean, adults watched it, younger people watched it. So yeah, that is a gift. That is just a gift from the gods, as far as I'm concerned. And
agreed.
I don't think anyone who works on these shows doesn't feel that way. I don't know anyone.
Me either.
All feel lucky.
Me either. They're all very, very fortunate, and they don't take any of it for granted. And then you have people like Rob Paulson, who's just beyond. I mean, that guy is a fan genius. He never sits down. He talks to everybody. He's so engaging. I mentioned Rob only as an indicator of all the people that we're talking about. He just jumped to mind. But
no, he's so special.
That's the word that I was going to use. Yeah,
he's very special. He's a very, very special man, and I'm a huge fan of his. So no, I'm glad mention anyone, because the community is rather small. The voiceover community. I mean, obviously it's expanded. It's expanding all the time because just, people it's more accessible than it used to be. It used to be like a very small group, and it still is, but there were like a group of people who were always working, and, the casting people knew them. Obviously the industry is changing. It changed during COVID. It's continually changing. There are people coming up who are brilliant and, they'll have their time, and that's how it should be.
I was pausing because I don't want to keep jumping in. I was just making sure that no one else was going to. So there's that awkward pause that always happens in a conversation, inevitably. So there it is.
So that's why we have editing. Hello.
We're editing. This isn't live, and I'll edit all this out as so it doesn't seem awkward and it seems seamless. I was curious, with it being parts 1 and 2 being so different, do you two remember, was everybody from both parts in the recording studio, like for the whole thing, or was it kind of a bit of a change out? Because some of obviously we could have just had Phil and George on their own for a good part of that.
No, I think we were all there.
Okay.
We were always all there. And, and I have to say, I love that the whole cast is in this, because as we've learned from talking to people on this podcast, that isn't always the case. I mean, they didn't have the money, and it takes so much energy and time and money to create these characters and to create their worlds. So subsequently, we didn't get Wonder Woman in a bunch of episodes, or Hawkgirl or whatever. And I love it when they're all together, even though Batman's never really with us.
Right.
I mean, he's so, like over there. Where's Batman? He's over there.
Oh, that guy.
That guy. But no, it was great. And we were always together. I mean, you'd have, in a show like this, for the first episode, well, Corey would, took up a lot of, he was 3 characters, but you'd have all the chairs just all around. It was a big room. It accommodated all of us.
Huge room. Yeah.
Huge room at Warner Brothers Animation in the mall. Weird.
So crazy.
And yeah, that's another thing that just feels like, when's the last time, I think you do a lot more animation than I do. Phil, when's the last time you went to record and you were with an entire cast?
Been a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. I don't remember. Because I'm doing some video games too, and video games I'm always doing by myself.
Right, solo,
right. But the being together part of it with Justice League, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was in there one time and Patrick Duffy was there.
Yeah.
And who else was there? Fred Trier was there, and the guy who plays the devil guy. I'm sorry, so my brain is so shot. But they were such beautiful actors, big time actors, all of us in one room, and I loved it. The energy was phenomenal.
It's like a green room, a green room. There are different levels of celebrity when you go into a green room at a Comic-Con, because we're all in the same room, but it's like a high school cafeteria, because it's like, oh, there's the football captain, and there's the cheerleader, and it's like, oh, there's the feature film actor, and then, TV star, and then anime, which is pretty up there at this point. Anime massive, but it's really fascinating. But it's an equalizer too, because you're all getting up and getting the same lunch, and having
the same coffee.
Oh, same coffee. If you're lucky, then there's coffee. But so yeah, we were all in the same room, and we were all, I think, and I could be mistaken on this, but I think we were all paid the same as well. Like, I
think so too. I think it's the same way it is now. Unless your deal is incredibly different, but yeah, you could play, a one line and you get the same as we got, So, what does that mean? I don't even know. It means that we get paid, but we're not really doing it for the paycheck. On a certain level, I work because I love to work. Do I need to work? Do I need to keep the lights on? Absolutely. I don't work. Lights go off. What? You like that? So I get the paycheck. I just think that some things are beyond it. And as an actor, if you're not beyond your paycheck, you're not going to be very good as an actor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're acting for a paycheck, in trouble.
Yeah.
In trouble. Yeah. So I never felt that anybody was in that room not trying to do the best they could because they were just trying to do the best they could. Period.
Yeah.
For sure. And listen, we're going to let you go because we know you're incredibly busy right now. We appreciate, I can't even tell you, we reached out to you. It was a little last minute. You have all these things going on. It's the holidays and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. Of course I'll do it. So we can't thank you enough for having that, just joining us and being with us and talking about Vandal and also your career, because we're, James and I love listening to what's going on with you. We're such fans of yours. So, thank you for just showing up. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, somehow I always feel smarter when you're on, Phil, because it's like,
I know, right?
I've learned 3 new words just since we spoke.
You got lighting effects and all kinds of crazy stuff.
But it's always a tremendous joy. So this was my holiday present. So thank you for being on, and hopefully we will talk again very soon.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays to you and your family, your beautiful family. Happy holidays, Phil. Thank you.
Talk to you guys soon.
Be well.
Okay.
Thanks.
We hope so.
There he goes. What a guy. What a talent. Just, as I said, I feel smarter having him on the show.
He's a smarty pants.
Yeah.
And I love that he's game to come on and talk to us and chat with us and share his feelings about, he's such an interesting guy. And I love hearing his take on things, and whether it's Vandal or his other things he's got going on, or just life. Like, this guy would be the best life coach ever, right? I just feel like we had a session. We had a life.
Maybe that's why I feel smarter, because I'm like, oh, that's changed my perspective today. Thank you, Phil Morris. So
right. I mean, that's what it is. It's just like watching somebody, and he's so joyful, and you know, and he practices joy like every day of his life. And that's a reminder, I think, for all of us. So I so appreciate him coming on. And he did really jump in. Like, we were just like, I wonder if we can get Phil. And, you know, it is a tough time to ask people to come on, because they've got stuff going on, and travel and the holidays and work and all this other stuff. So
right. Yeah, you're all over the country, so it's we're trying to find time for this and that, and then having him jump in. And then the holidays are rough, period. So yeah, so for those of you listening to this one right now, we appreciate your patience. I know we didn't drop an episode on our last appointment, but hopefully you've enjoyed this one as we chat Hereafter. I didn't really get to mention either too much of the voice cast on this one. We mentioned Brad Garrett. We mentioned Triple Duty by Corey Burton. Michael Dorn, obviously, as Calabac. Phil Morris as Vandal Savage. James Marsden was back as Snapper Carr in the news report. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. I just completed my final rewatch of all 5 seasons of Remington Steele, and he was Daniel Chalmers on that. But he was there, obviously, as the voice of Alfred. Dana Delaney and Clancy Brown from Superman the Animated Series as Lois and Lex, respectively. But wow, what a cast. What a cast.
I'd love to get Dana on. You know, I'll tell you, few people, she can do so much with just a few lines. Mm-hmm. She is really something else. I'm such a fan. I've been watching her forever, and I'm such a fan of hers, and I would love to. Do your people know her people? I will reach out.
I'll see if my main manager can reach out. If not, I'll have my sub manager or his intern reach out and see if we can schedule a lunch.
If anyone's listening and has any connection to Dana, can you let us know? Yeah. Because she's really, she's just such a brilliant actress, and I would love to talk to her about this show and Superman the Animated Series and her career at large. China Beach, my God, she's so good. Yeah. So we'll work on that. You know, people. Yeah.
We'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. But yeah, this is another one. Well, I don't want to take your line.
It's another one in the can.
That's going to be a quote on the T-shirts we'll be selling. Look for our merch store coming soon. Another one in the can. # Susan Eisenberg. # Justice League Revisited. But yeah, this was so much fun.
It's so funny when you say hashtag. I always think # Justice League Reunion, because for so long it was JL Reunion. Yeah. Right.
But now it's JL Revisited. We're keeping the R. We're just repurposing the word.
Exactly. Well, this was good. I'm glad we did this.
Me too.
And it's good to see your face, and
you also
to have our chat. And you know, I love doing it. I love doing this podcast. So I'm just happy we get to do it. And we'll drop this. Well, we know when we'll drop it.
Yeah. If you're listening right now, guess what? We dropped it. So there's that. But yes, this is, I can't believe we're coming up on the end of season 2. We're getting ready to start Unlimited here pretty soon.
I know. Don't even.
Ken Schreiner is on deck. He will be joining us as Green Arrow, which I know, Susan, you're friends with Ken, and he's expressed his desire to be on. So that's great. We're going to have Green Arrow right out of the gate.
Yeah, no, he just keeps saying, okay, are you there yet? Are you on Unlimited yet? You know, because according to Ken, the show didn't really get going until Green Arrow.
I think that's valid. Yeah.
But I have to say, he's brilliant as Green Arrow. Like, he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. So, so to be continued on that front. But what about people trying to find you if they were trying to locate you? I don't mean like witness protection stuff, but I mean, you know, they want to follow you or maybe, you know, ask you a question.
It's hard to swing a rock on social media without hitting me. I'm on Twitter X at Geek to Me Radio. Instagram, same handle at Geek to Me Radio. I'm trying to be more active on Threads, also at Geek to Me Radio. Facebook.com/Geek to Me Radio. If you head over to YouTube, youtube.com/Geek to Me Radio, subscribe there. We are rapidly approaching 5,000 subscribers. I know it's a small channel, but we are small but mighty, and we'd love to add you to that list. We go live every Sunday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, with a live show. We have spectacular guests. We just were talking with some fantastic comic creators about a brand new comic coming from Image Comics. Charles Soule and Ryan Brown were on talking about The Lucky Devils, which you can catch starting in January. So we've got the back catalog. You can see them on YouTube, and hit the notification, the bell. We go live with a new show every Sunday, and you can check us out on video. And of course, we're bringing Two Rivers Comic Con to the St. Louis, St. Charles area. The website is the number 2 Rivers Comic Con, all one word. Check them out because Susan's going to be there. Phil Lamar's going to be there. We're going to have Dan Reba's going to be there. Alan Burnett's going to be there. Maria Canals Barrera, plus some other ones. And if you're a comic book fan, we got Roy Thomas, Mark Bagley, Keith Williams, Chuck Patton, and a whole host of others. We're very excited to be bringing that to you Memorial Day weekend of 2025. So if you haven't met Susan yet and you're in the Midwest area, you got to come to Two Rivers Comic Con. Tell her hello. Tell her how much you love her dulcet tones on our podcast here. Now that I'm out of breath, Susan, where can they find you?
It's mine's simpler because I don't have all the things going on that you have going. So Susan Eisenberg 1, the number 1, everywhere. And SusanEisenbergVoice.com is my website, and I'll have some posts up soon about where I'm going to be Comic-Con wise. I'm spending more time on Blue Sky and Threads, but a lot of Blue Sky. I'm a big fan. And so if people aren't seeing me on Twitter as much, that's because I'm trying out new places and I'm digging the Blue Sky place. And so if you want to find me over there, please do come chat with me over there. So that's where I am. So now that we know where we are, we're just going to ask you if you're liking the podcast and if you're enjoying it, please, please, please subscribe. And also leave us a review. It really, really helps. And we want to just build this community and build the podcast. So please, go and subscribe and leave a review.
Okay? And tell your friends. And like Michael Rosenbaum used to say for his podcast, Inside of You, take your friend's phone, make sure they're logged in, and find ours and subscribe to us on their phone too. So we're doing this pirate style.
Yeah, no, listen, we're not above it. We're not above it. So is that it? So are we done? Or do you have anything else you need to tell the nice folks?
No, I think that's fantastic. We're wrapping up here. We're almost in 2025. That's weird.
I know.
We're almost done with Justice League, the first 2 seasons. That's weird. But we're going to keep going. And we've got big things planned for 2025. So we hope you will continue on this journey with us.
Absolutely. And just, stay with us. Like James said, it's the journey. And we'll see you soon, and the conversation continues.